When you Google the margarita, you get about 100,000 different recipes, and at least half of them claim to be the best. Where do you even begin? I am Robb Report's resident bartender, Jason O'Brien, and today we're gonna break down the margarita and show you the 3 best ways to make one for you. So a margarita, at its core, is just a tequila sour. So it's tequila, and then lime juice, and then a sweetener to balance the tartness of the lime. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of bad ways to make a margarita. But as far as I'm concerned, the good recipes tend to fall into 3 camps. Number 1 is the OG margarita, the original from the 20s. It is the strongest, it has the most depth and resonance. Number 2 is the Tommy's margarita. This is best for people who think a good margarita should be 1, cold, and 2, right now. And number 3, the Cadillac Margarita. Best for people who consider margaritas to be opulent, a luxury you afford yourself every now and again. So, first up, the original margarita. We're going to need 3/4 of an ounce of fresh lime. Unfortunately, bottled lime juice, sweet and sour mix, it's really not gonna work here. This is, out of all the recipes there are, this is the one that most heavily relies on freshness and vibrance. And we need 3/4 of 1 ounce. Now, to balance the tartness of the fresh lime, we need something sweet. And the original margarita called for orange liqueur. And today we're gonna use Cointreau. There's a lot of origin stories of the margarita. The most plausible one to me is that during Prohibition, American drinkers would go down to Mexico to be able to legally drink. And a popular drink at the time was called a daisy, which was just a sour sweetened with orange liqueur. And so they came down and they asked for a daisy, and the Mexican bartender said, sure, I'll make you a daisy. And daisy in Spanish is margarita. So the OG original margarita is 3/4 ounce fresh lime juice, 1 ounce of Cointreau, and 2 ounces of tequila. Now, what type of tequila? Blanco is where you'll get much more of the character of the agave and let it really shine through the lime juice and the sweetness of a good margarita build. And in this margarita build, we're doing 2 full ounces of Blanco tequila. And now we add ice and give this a good hard shake, 10 to 12 seconds. Margaritas can be up or on the rocks. It totally depends on what you prefer. On the rocks, it'll get softer over time as the ice melts, and up, it will stay the same strength the whole experience. This one, I'm going to strain up into a cocktail glass. And as a garnish, a dehydrated lime wheel, just for visuals, but to not change the taste at all. And there you have it, the original margarita. Next up is the Tommy's Margarita, invented by Julio Bermejo at Tommy's Mexican restaurant in San Francisco in the 90s. And just like every margarita, it starts with some fresh lime juice. This time we are going to do 1 full ounce. Now, like anyone who owns a Mexican restaurant, Julio made a lot of margaritas, and he had a lot of time to think about what a margarita is. He thought, what if I just make it with agave nectar instead, and just cut out the orange liqueur entirely? Or more specifically, agave syrup. He does 1 ounce of that. And just like the others, and you will detect a theme, it is 2 ounces of silver tequila. And now we add some ice and give it a good hard shake, 8 to 10 seconds. One of the many charming things about margaritas is that they're more or less immune to over dilutions. So for the Tommy's Margarita, we can just take it and just pour it in our glass. I like to cut a lime in half, then cut that half in thirds, and just give them the opportunity to make it a touch more tart if they prefer. And this is the Tommy's Margarita. Finally, the Cadillac Margarita. We're gonna use 1 full ounce of fresh lime. Next, Just like the Tommy's Margarita, we're gonna reach for our agave syrup. But this time we're only gonna use 3/4 of an ounce, so a little bit less than the Tommy's Margarita. Then we're gonna grab some orange curacao or Grand Marnier. This is Pierre Ferrand dry curacao. Both this and Grand Marnier, and Cointreau for that matter, are 80 proof, which means it's as strong as the tequila itself. And to this, I like 1/2 of an ounce. And finally, the tequila, which once again, 2 full ounces. Now, we add ice and we shake for a good 8 or 10 seconds. I mentioned in the Tommy's Margarita that margaritas as a category are fairly immune to over dilution, and that is true unless you have something with oak in the mix, like our curacao. In that case, we don't want it to get too watery because thin oak is a little unpleasant. So we're gonna add some fresh ice to our glass, and then we're going to strain over it. And you can garnish this with whatever you want, but just to mix things up, I'm going to do a lime wheel. This is the Cadillac Margarita. Now, personally, if I'm having either like 1 drink before dinner or if I'm at a cocktail bar, I like this guy best. If I'm having several margaritas in the afternoon, definitely this one. But that's not to say that either of these is the universal best, because it's not about what I think, it's about what's best for you.